Welcome to Knowledge Drop, our podcast about learning new things and trying to make our mark and be
Change
better
the
engineers.
world.
Yeah, change the world, all that stuff.
Make the world a better place.
Today, I will be teaching. Derek, will be teaching Hayden about artificial intelligence.
Ooh, I'm ready to be schooled.
Yeah. So this is actually something that in like the past, year or so, I've been learning more and more about, and the more I learn about it, the more I'm like, man, I need to do like a project, or like I need to work for a company that works with
AI.
Machine learning is another thing that you hear it being called.
Yep.
So just as a baseline, what do you know about like machine learning and artificial intelligence?
Just that they're gonna take over the world, and we can't really stop them.
This is the cynic.
Skynet is everything, So no, yeah. I guess we still get that idea from people like Elon Musk, who's like, yeah, we're gonna have to either beat this or join this. That's pretty much what he said when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yep.
And I was kind of like, well, if Elon Musk seems to know a lot more about it than I do,
Yeah.
if that's his opinion, then that's interesting.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really know too much. I guess just as a generality, machine learning, it's the machine, it develops the ability to actually learn from maybe mistakes or repeated behavior. It can learn from it and adapt and apply that new behavior.
Okay.
Does that seem fairly accurate as far as it's machine learning, right? So
yes, and so what I think is happening is there are lots of different types of machine learning and AI. So like with machine learning, there's like machine learning where you can actually guide it through learning.
Okay.
Or you can just be like, here's a bunch of data, find the pattern.
Oh, okay.
And then
But is that learning? If it's just finding a pattern? Because that seems pretty like something you would program in.
Well, that's the thing especially with these kinds of machine learning and AI things that we're doing, is if you just dump in a bunch of data and say find the pattern, it's programming its own pattern recognition.
Oh.
So like you don't know what the code looks like.
Oh. What? Okay.
And so, did you hear about the Facebook AI that they had to shut down?
No.
This was a while ago. So Elon Musk told Mark Zuckerberg, "Hey, you have this AI program.
Put it down.
You're doing some bad stuff here, and it's gonna get out of hand."
Yeah.
And Mark Zuckerberg was just like, "Whatever, dude." And I don't know if it was a few days or a few weeks or a few months or whatever, but the Facebook AI that they were playing with, it started to communicate in a language they didn't program it to communicate.
Oh gosh.
And they didn't know what he was saying or do, so they had to shut it down. They killed the project.
Kill it.
And
what if it's like a movie though? What if that intelligence escapes somewhere, and is just growing under the weeds and we don't know about it?
So one of the rules, as far as I'm aware, is any AI projects are not allowed to be connected to the internet. I don't know.
Doesn't that show you though that there is a legitimate fear? Like,
well, with any technology, you need to know like the cons, like the bad part of it, because like drone technology has come a lot in the last few years, but
a long way.
It's a fun hobby. But on the flip side, there are terrorists that use drones to deliver bombs into military installations.
It's not really a hobby anymore, is it?
Yeah, and so it's like, what do we do now?
Well, we use drones as well.
Yeah, but it's
Amazon's like going to use drones.
It's an interesting like kind of two sides of a coin for all technology. AI can help us live in a world that we can do whatever we want and be healthy and happy, or they can destroy all humanity.
Well, it's kind of like the Tony Stark Iron Man thing, right? He was like, had this epiphany, was like, no more weapons. And we're just going to do energy now.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? And then after that, he was like, no, I guess I'll just make a bunch of suits. I don't get it, obviously he didn't market and sell it,
Yeah.
right? Because that was the whole thing about the first movie, was that like Obadiah wanted to weaponize it and distribute it, and he didn't, right? So anyway, kind of the same thing with AI. It's kind of like, do we want to, how far you take it, like, do you go all the way? Do you go as far as you can? Because we're not connecting to the internet because we're worried that something's going to happen.
Well, eventually we will.
When it's
because that's what we're doing with all of devices. Like there's refrigerators now that connect to the internet. Like
right.
As soon as we know the capabilities and the limits we can put on that technology, we're gonna try and connect it to everything.
Right.
But I just think there's too many unknowns that if we connect it to a resource like the internet, we don't know what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a it's
unpredictable.
Well, it's such in its infancy, the technology itself, that we're kind of we still want to know more about it before we can just let it loose.
Right. We're gonna train it.
Yes.
Before we can release it.
And so, what's fun is there are a lot of different types of AI and a lot of different research. Like, for example, there's a guy in Europe. What did you say?
Okay, pretty big.
I think it's Britain.
Whoa.
He basically created.
Not part of Europe.
Well,
maybe. Anyway.
Not anymore, but like technically, it's still thought of.
Sorry. Keep going.
And he created like a digital brain. Okay. And he's basically teaching it like a baby. So he's like talking to it and playing and like, this is a spider and ooh, spider, and like
it's all bad. It's all wrong.
Well, like he's trying to teach it like a human, so that intelligence, that artificial intelligence he's building is going to function like a human with human values. And whereas all the other AI that we're teaching, we're just like, play a game with me, and if you lose, you're a loser.
Yeah.
Which is like how Skynet, I think I remember that happening in the movies. Like we're teaching it that like playing games, and if you lose, that's bad.
Yeah.
And you have to win no matter what.
So self-preservation. Yeah. I mean, that becomes the game, right? It's just survival, I guess.
So this is the premise of what we're going to be talking about today.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
And so before we dive too deep into AI and all this stuff, I believe you have a fun fact
for us. My gosh. I have an extremely fun fact.
I mean, last week's fun fact was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I feel bad. This week, this isn't really, this has nothing to do with science in a way.
As long as we learn something.
Okay. I don't know. I get stuck on, when I find something amazing, I get stuck on it for a little while. And I feel like I need to tell everybody in my life about it.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, how tall do you think the tallest person to have ever lived on the earth? How tall?
9 feet.
This is the fun fact, by the way. I hope this isn't extremely disappointing. 9 feet?
9 feet.
You're extremely close.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, first of all.
Over or under?
1 inch under. It was 8'11".
Okay.
So, so how tall is 9 feet? That's so tall.
That's taller than most floor to ceiling apartments and rooms.
You have an 8-foot roof.
Yeah.
He can't fit in there. So nobody can see this, but this is him. Okay, what am I doing? I should say his name. So he was born in 1918. His name's Robert Wadlow. Wadlow? Okay, I don't know.
Wadlow sounds good.
Wadlow. He got up to 8'11". And let's see. That's him with his dad. So you can see he's literally twice the height of his dad.
Yeah, you guys should Google this guy, Robert Wadlow, and he's crazy tall.
Google him. Just look at the pictures. This looks photoshopped. So when he was 5 years old, he was wearing clothes for an 18-year-old.
He grew fast then, from birth.
Yeah. No, this was he grew fast, and seriously just like kept going hardcore. So anyway, I love learning about stuff like that. So
That's cool.
um, yeah,
Well, that was a fun fact.
yeah. I'm sorry if that was just disappointing, but I felt like I needed to share it. 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
They say that Bigfoot's like 7 feet tall or 8 feet tall. So, you know, when we find
Assuming
him,
you believe in Bigfoot.
when we find him,
Oh.
you
Okay.
can tell him, look, you got nothing on Rob. You, you got nothing
Yeah.
on RW. Anyway, back to science.
Yeah. So we're gonna start with artificial intelligence. I think I'm gonna do a separate episode on machine learning
Okay.
today, just about artificial intelligence and just about kind of the basics.
Okay.
So from what I've found, there are a few different levels to AI,
All right.
and yeah, so the first level is called reactive machines.
Reactive machines.
Yeah. These are the machines that like you hear about on the news of like, artificial intelligence beats world grandmaster chess player.
Oh gosh, yeah.
They have names like Deep Blue.
Okay.
Google's AI was called Go and AlphaGo, or the game was called Go, and it was Alpha and then AlphaGo.
Okay.
Were the AI names, and so AlphaGo is a different type of AI than what it was before Alpha. But anyway, these are, just AI that react to the environment around them. They play games
So
with
you
each
make a
other.
move and it reacts by making a counter move,
Yes.
which it's calculating to see
It knows all the possibilities
all the possible
forever.
patterns. Yeah.
And not too intelligent, but like I don't know about you, but when I play chess on the computer beats me every time. So still,
Suck at chess.
yeah, it's probably more my ability to play chess than the smarts of the computer, but still very capable machine.
Yes.
Um,
That's just a basic one, right?
yeah, that's the basic level.
Mhm.
That's kind of like I don't want to lump any other examples, but we'll just go into the second type.
Sure.
Second level is called limited memory, and these are, the main example I found was self-driving cars.
Okay.
It's not that they're storing information and like learning from past experiences. They are just observing the world and reacting to it as it comes.
So how is that different from the reactive one then?
So
it's so limited memory, you said. So it must be storing something. If it's storing a temporary memory, or
it has enough memory to understand what to do, but it's not like it's saying, I remember this specific traffic light, and this is what I do at this specific traffic light.
Okay.
Whereas the limited memory, I feel like they understand the moves that you make, just keeping it in the same example of a chess game.
Mm-hmm.
They know the move. If you make this move, then I can make, XYZ moves.
So maybe it's just taking it to the next level. Like next level up from reactive?
Yes. I think it just has more capabilities to learn.
Yeah.
Because with driving, you're going to have new experiences all the time.
New
Whereas
situations.
in chess,
you know every move that can be made.
Like, yeah, a queen is not going to, teleport across the board. Like,
right.
That's different rules.
Yep.
And so.
Yeah, no, okay. So it's learning in the moment. In a way, it's applying things.
Yeah, I'd say it's monitoring its environment over time, but it's not storing that information.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
And so those are the first two levels, and then there's level 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of between 2 and 3. That's where it kind of divides into the AI that we see in movies. Okay. And what we have currently.
So are you saying we've gotten to basically level 2?
We do have experiments.
Much farther?
We do have experiments in the other levels of AI, the higher levels of AI, but they're not, what they are fully.
Okay.
So, for example, the next level, level 3, is called theory of mind.
I don't
And
know.
that's just what it's called in psychology.
Frightening.
You start to have thoughts and emotions about things.
Emotions? You're getting all the way to emotions, you think?
Yes.
So then what's level 4? Because where are you going from there?
Well, so think about it like this. We can teach AI. Like, do you remember you can go on YouTube and you can look up Google's AI learns to walk?
Yeah.
And it's like waving its arms and
Yeah.
and the way that they taught that AI to walk is they didn't show it walking, but they incentivized getting to a certain point as good.
Okay.
And so they knew that if I could get to this point, it's good. And I
Right.
don't know if you can classify that as an emotion, but like
But
they want to,
something is more positive than something else.
yes, in a sense.
Like there has to exist a comparison between positive and negative. Like it's positive to get here, it's negative to not get there. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying positive, negative because do you think a computer doesn't really get good versus bad? Do you think?
I mean, as far as we can tell them what good and bad is, so like Smarter Everyday YouTube channel, he put out a really great video about how he himself and a friend made an AI image recognition software that could recognize handguns.
Okay. Well,
And so they had to go through hundreds of images teaching the AI this is a handgun.
right.
That's a super soaker.
Yeah.
That's a handgun. That's a phone.
Yeah.
And so like
So it's not really good versus bad. It's just this is what you want. This is not what you want.
well we're teaching it what's
We
good
want.
and what's bad.
Yeah.
So like in Smarter Everyday's YouTube channel, like you could say that he was teaching an AI that guns identify guns because these are I don't even want to say bad, but I'm like he wanted to associate guns with the actual shape and dimensions of a gun so that it could
Right.
identify them so that we could alert. This is for schools and places like that.
Okay.
So like as far as we can teach them the difference between one point and another or between several different points,
Yeah.
we'll teach them this is good, this is bad, this is happy,
So
this is
we're just adjusting it to what we want it to know or to look for.
yeah, we give it information and we're telling it what it is.
Sure. But then as we go along, you're saying theory of mind. I don't know what the 4th level is, but can it learn those things for itself? Like, for example,
No.
well, isn't that the whole point? Like, is where it should get to is that it can say this action is positive for a human being or good for a human being. This action or situation is bad for a human being and make a choice between them.
Now, as far as we've fed it information, it won't say like let's just say it's identifying guns and phones.
Yeah.
It's just going to identify if it's a gun or not. It's
Sure.
not going to say what is on that person's phone, and if I see what's on that person's phone, that person is a bad person.
Okay.
Or a good person, whatever. There's no other priorities for that computer or for that AI to differentiate.
Right.
And so that leads into the next level, the 4th level,
Okay.
which is self-awareness.
Oh,
This is where an actual consciousness is programmed into the AI, and it can make its own assumptions and its own, it creates preferences for itself.
okay. So but do those preferences that it creates, could that be influenced by what we originally programmed it to do, though? Yeah.
Like, so when I think of self-aware AI, I think of Halo,
Uh-huh.
and like, Cortana and
Mm-hmm.
Roland and like all those other AI.
Uh-huh.
They picked the form that they appear in themselves.
Right.
Like they found, so like some of them were people, some of them were like just a black box, like literally just a cube that was black.
Yeah.
And then others were like a constellation of stars that would just kind of hover in the air. They found the form that appealed to them the most.
It's like what's appealing to a robot or not appealing to a robot?
No, but that's the thing is that like it has its own mind. like it has its own way that it approaches things. So like,
don't you think though that whoever really was kind of the head of programming it, that it's almost a reflection of their consciousness? Like it can maybe change from there, but
I think it would
if you
depend.
become self-aware, it has to start from somewhere. It has to start with you're pretty much getting this guy's preferences, his decision making, his influence, his bias will be there, right?
I can see how you would think that,
And then it can change from there.
yeah.
You know, like it can make a decision like, do I want to keep this info or?
But you're assuming that artificial intelligence is going to be learning and growing the same way that we do.
Mm-hmm.
You have preferences and, you know, preferences that your parents gave you.
Yeah.
Whether you are aware of them or not.
Mm-hmm.
In artificial intelligence, you can give it, you can tell it, you can tell the artificial intelligence what its purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you have to do.
Wait, no, because if you just tell it a purpose, it can interpret that. Yeah. It can take any method to achieve that purpose.
And that's why AI is scary. Is if I give it a purpose to solve world hunger, it can be
kill
like,
everybody.
I can grow all the food in space, or I don't know, some.
Or if everybody's dead, there's no hunger.
Or if everyone's dead, there's no hungry people. And so that's why we're cautious of it, because we want them to be able to help us and create unique solutions to problems. Like, what if AI were like, you know what? The ocean floor, we can grow food there. I just need air and electricity.
And it could maybe tell you, like, it could maybe point out possibilities.
Yeah, and so that's why it's such a, you know, tantalizing possibility of like the AI can help us problem solve, but they're not creative. They can only tell us like if something, like that's why self-aware AI, they can pursue possibilities that we wouldn't even think of.
Sure. Mathematical possibilities that we wouldn't have thought possible.
Yeah.
Or
because right now all the AI, like level 1, 2, I think 3 maybe, they're not creative.
Sure.
Like definitely level 1 and 2, but 3 kind of iffy. Creativity is 0.
Okay. Well, so something that Elon Musk was saying was that if you connect, let's say you get something that's self-aware or close to self-aware.
Sure.
And it becomes, well, maybe this is part of making it self-aware. He said that if you connected it to, like, let's say you just connected it to Google. And so that AI has all of the Google database at its reach, right? It can scan through all that information really quickly and learn from all those Google searches that have ever been done, right?
Yep.
The Google searches, the results, what you find on those pages, it can look through all that stuff. He was saying that for an AI is essentially not an immune system.
Nervous system.
A nervous system, yeah. It's almost like a brain, because think about Google, everything that humans.
Your brain's not your nervous system.
Well, okay, but
your nervous system is used to be aware of what your body is doing, and if you're like thinking
sense.
Yes. So like the AI is the brain, and the nervous system is how it is aware of us.
Okay. So the brain is part of the nervous system, correct?
Yes.
Yes, question mark.
I mean, just in the fact that the nervous system feeds impulses to our brain.
Right, like I was imagining those impulses and communications in the brain being like
Google searches.
Yes, that's part of, that's Google searches.
Yeah.
And so essentially that being a nervous system gives it the ability to take on life really quickly. But if you think about Google, it's kind of like, yeah, but there's so much bad compared, well, not that there's more bad than good on Google, but just that if you can find the really positive stuff, then you can find the really dark and bad stuff too. So how does it decide maybe that comes into who originally created the self-awareness
Yeah.
to say, hey, certain things, like almost giving it like a 10 Commandments thing, like don't kill ever.
Well,
Like just making that part of its programming.
that's the thing of you can't create hard and fast rules because you've seen iRobot, right?
Yes.
There were 3 rules. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
There were 3 rules, but if the robot can convince itself that I'm not killing this person, I'm saving this person, they're just not alive anymore.
Right, because the person didn't want to be alive. So you're not killing, you're saving. It can become something else.
Yeah, and so if they start thinking for themselves, that's why I'm like, you can't program them to give them rules. You need to teach them so that they have a moral code just like we do. And like, yeah, you can say like a moral code is rules.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
But you believe in the rules, and they're not rules to you. This is how I live my life.
Sure. But even with like if you gave it rules like do not kill, that's just a rule, but we all know as human beings that self-defense is something that exists as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's exceptions to the rule. Do you think that plays into it? Could we eventually prevent like any negative outcomes, or is there always a way around it maybe? Because I feel like robots wouldn't be as like humans are so instinctual and emotional in the way that we react to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a robot wouldn't need that, Like a robot's not going to get offended, is it? If you had a self-aware robot and like an iRobot or whatever, you slap it in the face, it's not going to care.
Well, right? That's because in our DNA, like an assault like that is offensive.
Yeah.
But AI doesn't have DNA. It doesn't know culture. Right. It's creating its own culture. So like that's a whole other question.
It could learn our culture.
I mean, it could assimilate into any culture.
Yeah.
But if it's self-aware, I feel like it'd want to create its own culture.
If it sees that as the best possibility. But if it feels like it's better for my survival as an entity to be blended into this culture,
yeah,
blend into that culture. I don't know. Did you ever play? Maybe I'm sure you didn't play it because I don't think you play a whole lot of video games these days. But Becoming Human. It's called Detroit Becoming Human. It's all about AI.
Really?
So in that game, AI exists, and they have all these androids that are, perfect AI, except that they, up until that point, were just servants, right? I mean, just like iRobot.
Yeah.
And then slowly they begin to break out and kind of become more conscious and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I brought this up.
Well, that makes me think of, have you seen the Boston Dynamics robot videos, like Spot and the robot that does parkour?
Yes. It's really freaky to watch.
So yeah, someone was joking that like, why are we teaching robots parkour when so one of the ways that they teach them to be able to stand up and do flips is they have to knock them down and like jostle them and like whatever to make sure that they can adjust back to equilibrium. And so there's tons of videos about like these guys at Boston Dynamics like getting hockey sticks and like
I've seen it.
Slapping robots and like kicking Spot and like all these different Spot's one of the dog robots.
Okay.
But in the future, AI is gonna look at that and be like, "What the hell? These guys are treating us horribly." And so that's what that made me think of, because like these robots, there's also this YouTube group that they take those Boston Dynamic robot videos.
Corridor.
Yeah, and they make funny GIF videos of like the robots like, I'm sick of this, and like rebels.
Yeah, the robot like grabs the hockey stick and like breaks it in half, and they all stand there like, what? But yeah, so you have to be careful that you're not watching a fake video or something. But no, the real videos of Boston Dynamics is like, holy crap. Like just seeing the things that they can already do.
Yeah.
Watching those things like they have kind of like, the ones that are on all fours, and I've seen them on ice,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that they move is it's so it's like a creature, like it's like a real animal.
Yeah.
It's so freaky, but so cool at the same time.
So now that we have a better understanding, I don't want to say a full understanding because this is some deep, high level artificial intelligence is just a crazy subject.
Yeah,
But I like thinking about the possibilities.
the positive.
Yeah. So for me, I am like wanting to get into this area because it feels to me the same way that people felt when the internet just came around and people were like, what can we do with this? What are we gonna do with this?
Right.
And like some of the things that I was researching about slash what people have been doing with it. Obviously, Tesla has been using artificial intelligence for self-driving.
Yep.
And
Well, yeah, several companies.
I mean not just Tesla, but Tesla started that. One of the sad things that I don't like that happens with Tesla is, and not because I love everything that Elon Musk does, but the fact that Tesla cars, they always get a lot more hype when there's a crash.
Right.
When there are millions of, or I should say millions, but like thousands of crashes every day.
Yeah.
And they don't get any coverage.
Same thing with Waymo.
Yeah.
I've heard of Waymo.
Yeah.
I see them all the time in Chandler, Arizona. They've got these Waymos driving around like seriously all day, all night. And there was like one time where a Waymo hit somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all over. It was like Waymo, people were like, why are we even doing this if it's just gonna kill people and stuff? And I'm like, dude, literally every day human beings kill other human beings at a high rate, like
with cars,
with
like
cars.
car accidents.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And well, that's the thing is like with AI, we're still teaching it how to drive and how to be aware of the road.
Yeah, once it gets a handle on it,
that's the thing is we're just starting to feed it data.
Yeah.
And we're just it's beginning to learn and it's getting better every year.
Yeah, it's never gonna regress. Like a human being can be good at driving, but then when a human being's 80, it's not good at driving anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. And this thing is for everybody. So once you have that groundwork laid of, hey, this thing has got a handle on it now, like it's 99.9, it's gonna be
dialed in.
Yeah. Then it's like, dude, we'll never go back.
Yeah.
Or if you do go back, it'll just be for fun or whatever.
You're driving for fun.
Yeah.
Another one that I read about was, you've heard of fusion energy.
Yeah.
We mentioned it in the energy storage
episode.
Yes. You're taking two hydrogen atoms and you're shooting them together so they create helium and energy results. Now, to do that process of throwing two hydrogen atoms together and making helium is crazy complex.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've seen any fusion reactors, but there's like tons of pipes and like, I didn't even know. There's just stuff everywhere. Factory. And so, as you can imagine, there are like thousands of variables they have to control with fusion.
Right.
And so, what they've been doing last year, they started doing some machine learning / AI stuff, is they gave control over, not complete control, but like they started feeding data so that this AI could monitor all these thousands of variables and then say, oh, I know the pattern, and start to kind of help us get the right variables where they need to be.
A lot quicker, maybe. Yeah, a lot more accurate.
So it's not just like, you know what, let's try this. It's, we know if we do this, we'll get better results.
That's really cool.
And so, because fusion is the future. Like, we'll have an episode on energy generation.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big part of it.
That's where my faith is.
Yeah. And so another one that I was actually talking about this with my uncle. He's a nurse, and he was saying a lot of the stuff people come into the ER for, you don't need a doctor.
Oh.
Like, and he was saying there are not virtual clinics, but like there are clinics you can go to that it will diagnose you there. And we're talking about like, well, how does it know it's not like a tumor or something in your body?
Right.
And I was telling him it's if there are sensors equipped to this artificial intelligence, you can walk in and it will be constantly scanning you and it will know exactly what's wrong. And we were talking about like, would this ever replace doctors? Which is no. We'll always need doctors.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. We'll see. But
well, for certain things, right?
That's the thing is like all the books that I read about the future is there's just an AI that is medical AI, and it will just do everything.
I don't know. Some of those decisions in the moment are kind of like
but remember,
need human intuition. I don't know.
See, I disagree because with a doctor, it's subject to his experience, and he doesn't have all experience, whereas an AI could.
True. But can the AI know a patient the way that a doctor can know a patient?
That's why I'm like iffy about whether doctors will be around.
Sure.
Because we do enjoy having an interaction with another person and being able to have them look at us and be like, hey, you're fat. Or, whatever. And so.
Okay, crazy.
Yeah.
But now, hold on. When you were saying that about a lot of people come to the ER, they don't need to, whatever. You're saying
fevers, broken bones.
Yeah. But somebody comes, they don't really need to come. But then, like you were saying, you find a tumor or something for some odd reason because you were checking out for something else.
Yes.
Are you saying that AI would help to do that all the time? Or are you saying that it could weed out people that don't need to come or something?
Imagine a place you would just go to. You'd walk in, you'd be scanned as you're walking in.
Okay.
X-ray, everything that you could possibly just with looking at you. And then it could diagnose you.
But it can't do everything at once.
Well, I mean, if you have an X-ray, it can be run by a computer, by an AI. It's just point and shoot.
I guess, yeah.
Fever you can do off of infrared.
Okay, really?
Broken bones, ultrasonic sensors.
And X-ray.
Right? And X-ray, yeah, I guess that's true.
Detecting fractures or whatever.
And then like wrapping your arm.
What about like a severe skin rash?
That's optical
sensor. I don't know.
Optical sensor. Just a camera.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's why I'm like.
Just doing that as you're walking in. Because usually there's like papers you need to sign and blah, blah, blah.
They already started checking. So in China, they are doing a grocery store where you walk in and it scans your face.
Oh, man.
And you pay just by showing your face. So a computer. Oh, that's Hayden. These are his medical records. These are the problems he's had in the past, if any. And it's like, oh, his family, because it's going to have your family's medical records too.
They're all connected.
There's, like, in my family, there's heart disease. Or, whatever.
So it knows your records. It knows everything about you, really. Even your deepest wants and desires.
Not a mind reader, per se, but...
At the end of the operation, it will say, you know what? You need to go back to college. Just do it. Just do it. Follow your dreams.
I can see your brain network, and you'd be great at engineering.
Or it's like, you know what? You're thinking way too much about that girl. You need to let it go.
Oh man, I could use one of those in high school.
It's like, look, I know you're overanalyzing this. Just forget about it.
Just call her.
Just call her. Yeah, it goes the opposite. You need to call her. She's ready.
Yeah.
We had her in last week. And yeah, she was thinking about you too.
So now it's doctor / matchmaker.
Hey.
So something else. This one's a little sad. But we have AI that can now, within a matter of like 5-10 seconds, it can completely mimic your voice and your face.
What?
And these are what?
For real?
This is the internet deepfakes. You can go on YouTube and look up deepfake videos.
Yeah.
And
well, it's not exactly 5 seconds, is it? Because you have to.
No.
From what I've seen, you like stretch. You like open your mouth, scrunch your eyes, close one eye, close the other eye, kind of do a bunch of expressions, and it records all those, right?
Now that was how it used
So
to
it can
be.
be like pretty
So
instantaneous
the
now.
videos that I was kind of looking into was these guys dropped a 8-second clip of former President Obama giving a speech, and then they were able to type in whatever they wanted, and they had this, Obama avatar.
Wow. Did you see it? Was it pretty accurate?
And if the lighting and shading, like the lighting on this avatar was better, then it would have convinced me. The voice was spot on.
The voice was spot on.
Yeah.
What the?
And so the reason I'm sad about this was, one, what's this technology going to be used for? Fake news.
Oh, you could fake anything.
Now, you can fake anything, and so when the internet got hold of this technology, this mapping, just wild guess what they used it for.
I think I already know. Porn.
Yeah, there were people on the internet using this technology to create avatars of movie stars and people.
You can choose anyone you want.
Yeah, and they were making pornography with this stuff, and I'm like,
there you go.
This is what technology's for.
Humanity's at it again. First thing we go for.
Seriously.
Like, we can literally make it look like any human on Earth. What should we do?
Well, and
first thing is like sex.
Yeah. But and it doesn't help that you can use clips from movies or from videos, and so it's like any bit of information out there about you or about some movie star or anybody can be mimicked.
So, just as an example, let's say somebody deep fakes me. They've got my face and my voice. You're saying the right lighting. It could be pretty passable for me.
Yeah.
Then I could be framed for literally any crime that exists. Is that true? I mean, you could hear me or see me doing pretty much anything.
The only upside is if you have your phone, people know where you are always anyway. And so
that doesn't help.
I guess. Well, I mean, like they can't say you did something in, China when you've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
But
assuming that
I guess you could frame it as like
cohorts with whoever's got my data.
Well, I mean, like if they have a
because
video
you can change my ping and say no, he's pinging from.
I guess that's true. So yeah, a little bit more scary. Hell.
Yeah, because you can fake so much. Like you can fake where somebody was if you say, yeah, we were pinging him from this cell phone because it has the same address.
So I guess just always have an alibi for everything, always.
But even like, how do you do it? Because you could say, I'll take a picture of myself wherever I am and with whoever I'm with. Okay, you can fake pictures. I'll take a video. You can fake videos.
I mean, you just have to have like, I don't know, your wife with you all the time.
Yeah.
That way, like you have another person.
But even in court, they could say she's your wife. She would say anything.
I don't know. It is a good question because now we have to find a way to combat that situation.
Yeah, we have with these new discoveries, we have to create. We sometimes create new problems as well.
Like with the terrorists using drones to deliver bombs to military installations. The military countered not with like other drones that fight those drones. They're training hawks to take down drones.
That's really cool.
Yeah, super cool. But it's just going to escalate from there,
Huh.
That's something that was disappointing about what I found. Sad.
Well, anything that's created for good can be twisted, right? I mean,
true. That's the same thing we were saying at the very start of this. Is it's two sides of a coin.
Yeah, you can always take something good and twist it to be something bad.
Yeah. And now, just to kind of show how accessible these things are, do you know what coding libraries like GitHub, Git Hub?
Heard of it?
It's just imagine a library of coding chunks, what people have done coding wise.
Yeah.
And you can go in there and like, oh, you know what? That's close to the project I want to do. I just have to modify XYZ.
Yep. You can just copy most of the code.
Yes, there's a library for artificial intelligence machine learning that Google put out called TensorFlow.
Okay.
And this is for computers, but recently they released a light version, LITE, that you can put on Arduinos, microcontrollers.
So that you can have basic machine learning.
Basic machine learning and artificial intelligence on your Arduinos.
And do you want to explain real quick what an Arduino is?
Arduinos are like, what 3D printers run off of. Like those are glorified microcontrollers. They control the movements of the motors that make a 3D printer print.
Yeah. So you can use Arduinos to do a lot of stuff.
You can make drones, you can make 3D printers, you can make so many different, seriously, possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And so being able to use machine learning and artificial intelligence in that small of a capacity, imagine, so 3D printers, they have a lot of calibration and other issues that you have to just be aware of and kind of tweak your settings. Imagine having a basic artificial intelligence that's like, oh, you're printing this kind of thing. I'm going to adjust the settings so that it comes out perfect.
Well, then why do you even need to do anything at that point? Or just say, this is what I want. Make it the best version that it can be, right?
Because it's not going to say, I want to print this. It's, what do you want to print?
Yeah.
And so, those are kind of all the things that I've been thinking about. So I've told you this idea before, but just so everyone else is aware of it. That deep fake stuff, really unfortunate. But I thought is not as a counter, but something else that you can apply that's similar to that is personalized ratings for media.
Okay.
So imagine something that runs in the background of your computer or your phone that you would teach it what's inappropriate or what things you don't want to see. Like bad language, pornography, racism, political stuff. I don't particularly care too much about all the political, back and forth that people go on and on about.
Yeah.
And so imagine on your phone, you never see anything that you don't want to see.
It's like an ad blocker, but for everything.
Yes.
Now,
with movies and videos, because it's running in the background, it's not altering the video, so there's no copyright issues. There's a company called VidAngel.
Yeah.
They're having an issue because they're altering the media, and they have to get permission from the owner of the media.
Right.
But because you're not altering, it's just, blacking out part of your screen where the words are or the image is.
Oh.
That would be a really cool.
It's not the same thing. I guess.
I just thought that would be a cool idea for something that could counter and help you.
I agree. Now let me just make a side effect of that could be that if I'm censoring, basically what that becomes is that I'm saying I don't want to hear this type of language, and we're talking about phone, internet, whatever you're doing.
Anything you receive media on.
Right. You're saying, I don't want to hear this type of language or see it. I don't want to see these types of images. But then you get to, I don't want to hear these types of opinions, right? I mean, effectively.
You could teach it that if you want to. And
really negative.
There will be those ignorant people that they just don't listen to anybody's opinion anyway. Even if they do see them, they don't listen to it.
Sure.
And if you really don't want to listen to other people's opinion, then your, phone AI, your media AI will pick up on that, and that's just who you're going to be to that AI.
I just don't know if, what if a parent programs for their kid, right?
See, that's why I don't think that would work.
Yeah.
Because then you're just giving it strict rules, and there's ways to get around those rules.
So you're saying it would be based on the user activity.
Yes.
You only click on clean, decent videos for the most part. So we're going to stop showing you videos with inappropriate content or...
No, it's so for YouTube is what you're alluding to.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, there's a different algorithm that feeds you content.
Sure.
What I'm saying is no matter what YouTube recommends to
Right,
you,
outside of, yeah,
so like
just like part of your phone hardware, whatever you do.
worst comes to worst, YouTube recommends like some racism commercial, whatever. Instead of I don't know.
It's just a
Or just some
commercial.
pornography comes up, I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Instead of YouTube, like it'll come up on your feed, but instead of you seeing it, your AI will block it
Sure.
with a black screen or a picture of puppies.
But but don't you think that maybe because whenever I see that, like, so there used to be, what was that called? Was it called like Clearview or
Clear
something? Clearplay?
Yeah.
They used to do that sort of editing through movies, right?
Okay.
And you'd be watching the movie, and then it would just be like cut. Like you can obviously tell that there was a cut there,
Yeah.
and it went to the next scene. What I've noticed is that it's cutting out more of the movie than you would want. Like it's not cutting out just that one scene. It's cutting out like 5 minutes before and 3 minutes after.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't very accurate.
So I'm gonna use have you seen Game of Thrones?
Nope.
Okay, I haven't seen either, but from everything I've heard is for boring, like talky parts of Game of Thrones, they make people naked and like having sex and stuff.
Okay.
And so what they use that to just convey information.
Yeah.
And so let's just say your AI knows you don't want to see naked people, and so it can block the visual aspects and maybe the audio as well, but there's subtitles of what the information is being exchanged.
Okay.
So like you can.
So this
that's
is
what
just
I'm saying. You
another
can, yeah, you
It's
can
way
configure.
smarter.
It can configure to what you want, and you can help it understand like, hey, I don't want to see this, and I don't want to hear it, like in this Game of Thrones example, but I still want to know what's happening.
Okay.
Like I want to know what they're talking about.
Well, that would be incredible if you could have that sort of precision, because
The more you have it, the more it's going to learn about you and your
Right.
preferences, and so I feel like it would be really customizable.
yeah, because that would be good because sometimes the YouTube algorithm is like, what the heck are you thinking? Like,
Mm-hmm.
not that it's giving me inappropriate content, but just like stuff that I'm like,
A video about birds comes up, and I'm like,
you're like,
how do you get that from
I
machining?
don't know, like, so sometimes it would be good if I had like a counter algorithm to be like, yeah, no, not that one. But I was gonna say earlier, I wouldn't want it to black it out though, because I still want to know, like, what I would want is for it to show up and have it blacked out at first, and it would have a message that said, this video contains this, this, and this, right? But it's about,
Yeah.
because it could be about, like, you could have a video about something sexual, but maybe it's sex education, it's something that's really in a positive way. But at the same time, somebody makes a sex joke during the talk or whatever. So it's kind of like you need to know what's.
Well, that's the whole point of it being able to be personalized to you.
Yeah.
Is like.
Yeah, it would just have to be super precise.
Yeah, it would be super precise to your preferences, and that's why I'm like, some people aren't bothered by the F word.
Yeah.
And so they won't edit that out.
Anything.
Yeah, and then like other people, like they don't like naked people. Naked people don't, or nudity doesn't bother them.
Yeah.
And so like it's just up to the individual.
Yeah, for sure. Is this a project you heard about? Is anybody working on something like that, or?
I haven't like looked it up on the internet, but so far I haven't heard of anybody doing it. Like VidAngel obviously is editing content, but that's only movies and like TV shows. It's not
and that's
Twitter and
completely different.
The internet on its own.
Yeah, it's not learning. VidAngel's not learning anything about you.
No.
But that's an incredible idea. It becomes almost like you should make an app of this, because
as soon as I can.
I don't think everybody would want it. Like, I don't think everybody would want to have any filters at all, just because they're like maybe skeptical about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if they really understood how precise it was and how good it was, I think everybody would want it, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I wouldn't want it to be on the hardware of the phone, but you can market it and make an app and.
No, yeah, the way that I'm thinking about it, it's strictly a software that will run, like, you know how you have an Apple app and it says, do you want this app to know the location of you always, or only when you're using it, or never?
Yeah.
This app would always know what is on your screen.
Okay.
And so, like, there's text on Twitter that starts talking like F words or racism or political stuff. It can detect that and either block it off, like it will block it on your screen so that you scroll past it.
Yeah.
Or you're scrolling through Facebook and I don't know what's Facebook.
Pictures.
Yeah, it's someone's
anything.
Beach pictures that you're just like, I don't.
You know what?
I don't know.
You know what?
Those are
Facebook
it's just running in the background. Yeah,
Facebook
that's
is
probably
almost
what I
always
should say.
political at this point.
Instagram's the one where I'm just assuming there's a lot more pornography on that because it's just visually.
Dude, I'm shocked by the amount by what stuff they let go. Like, it's pretty shocking. Like,
no, and
geez.
Yeah, I've read the rules on it, and it's kind of weird. Like, yes, you want people to express themselves, but that's not really what a lot of people are doing. It's the clicks that people are getting.
Yeah, that shouldn't be public. It should be a private circle of people.
Sure. But anyway, if just say on Instagram, you're on your feed and it recommends, oh, I'm getting more into fitness, but then there's these fitness people that are super modest or whatever, or pornographic or whatever. Yeah. It will visually block it so that you don't have to see that.
Yeah. It's a great idea. Yeah. Now you got to beat everybody else to the punch. Yeah. No, I think that's a really good idea and a good application of machine learning.
Yeah, machine learning AI.
Because
I feel like, next week when I talk more about machine learning, I'll be able to make distinctions.
Okay.
But because I feel like machine learning is a part of AI.
Okay.
But the structure of how you go about it, I feel like, is different.
All right.
So. But yeah, that's. Did you learn something?
I learned a lot.
Your fun fact was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's have a lot to do with anything. But it was fun.
Yeah,
and that's all that matters.
Yeah, we're having fun
and
learning stuff.
Science is all about.
Hopefully, you guys learned something too. Do us a favor. Like or comment or review this podcast. Let us know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, and help us reach more people. And keep listening.
Yeah, I just gotta keep working on the social media because I haven't updated much of it yet. But we already have a Twitter up.
We do have a Twitter. It's knowledge to drop. Knowledge, number 2 drop. Knowledge to drop.
All right, I'm not gonna make a comment because never mind. Knowledge to drop, and what was the other thing? We have an email.
Knowledge Drop Podcast 1 at gmail.com.
Yeah. I'm just floored by the amount of usernames that are taken.
Yeah.
Like in Google, literally you can't, there's no original username. You have to change it somehow. It's like, who else is doing this? But yeah, shoot us an email, find us on Twitter. I'm going to get Instagram and Facebook, a Facebook page up and running. So
more fun facts on Instagram and Facebook.
Oh my gosh,
we could do that
daily. I don't know about daily, but yeah, we'll definitely get that going. But yeah, shoot us an email. Find us on Twitter. And thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you had a good time, and we will catch you next week.